I'm going to turn the microphones back on, and we're going to go live right about... I'm going to turn the microphones back on. Guess who forgot to mute his own goddamn stream? I'm such a scrub. Okay. Such a scrub, such a scrub. I don't know how anyone puts up with this bullshit. Hi, everyone. How's it going? Welcome back. Thank you for stopping by and tuning in to Rhevs Palaver. Today is Monday, June 26th, 2017. And I am joined by the beautiful and intelligent and very funny and natural redhead, Ahkila DB. Oh my God, I forgot to change your name. Oh God, I'm so terrible. You're not Dave.
I am Dave.
You're not Dave.
Oh. That's great.
Ahkila DB. Actually, I'm just going to put Ahkila and then put it in the Twitch thing. So how you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
So you know I've been sick, right?
Yeah.
Twitter.com. Ahkila DB. There we go.
I'm in need of a nap.
Oh my God. So did I tell you I tried to take a nap before the stream? I was like, that's Dave. Hello to SMG Guy and Dark Daddy. No, that is not Dave. That is Ahkila DB.
Do I look like Dave?
No, you do not. Dave has a lot less hair up here and a lot more down here.
Wait, is he? I don't know if I've seen Dave. Is he balding?
Well, he's like, he's got that like real masculine sort of like it's very super thin right here, but he has a buzz cut, so kind of like,
oh, okay,
like that Jason Statham-y kind of bald,
right?
You know, I tell him that's why he's always wearing beanies, because he's really. But I'm like, dude, rock it. It looks good. You know.
Agreed.
So, anyways, yeah. I wanted to take a nap before our podcast, and I was laying down for a whopping 10 minutes before my phone started going nuts.
Yep.
Motherfuckers, Ahkila. I tell you. So, to anyone who wasn't aware, Ahkila was supposed to be on last Monday, but I've been fighting really bad sore throat and cold and cough, and I had like no voice, like none, zero voice, none. So she was kind enough to allow me to push this back. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it, Ahkila.
Yeah, no problem. I actually streamed so much that weekend that I like had been up by the time like podcast would have started. I had not slept, so I was up for like 32 hours or something like that.
So it would have been a real shit. Like, because I even think I said to you, like, if you really want to do it, it's fine. I'm going to be coughing a lot though. You're going to have to carry the podcast, like. And you're like, no, I'm exhausted. This is not a good idea. And I'm like, okay, we'll push it off for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, before we really get into it, now, I mean, I know about Hubert, but I think you should introduce everyone to Hubert real quick.
Okay. So on my bed, right, I think I'm pointing to the right area. That thing on top of the cat-looking thing, it is actually a Tauntaun plushie. His name is Hubert, and he's my favorite stuffed animal in the world. Yes, I like stuffed animals. Yes, I am a grown woman. Yes, Hubert is in my stream every night, and he also hangs out with me and sleeps with me every night. So he's kind of my best bud.
He's your buddy, and along with BB88, who is rolling around next to Hubert. It should be obvious to anyone who doesn't know you that you enjoy the Star Wars.
I do. A lot. Maybe too much sometimes.
You know what? My headphones aren't working. If people in chat could just let me know if the audio is real bad. I'm going to try going without headphones today. I usually get complaints that there's a lot of echo, but there's something going on in my headphones, so instead of trying to fuck with it on stream.
So many questions, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully it won't be too bad. If people hear an echo, I'll try to figure something out. But so the reason why I bring this up is for those people who don't know Ahkila, you primarily stream Star Wars.
I do, yeah. I mainly stream Star Wars: The Old Republic, which is a MMORPG. At this point, I stream, it's usually at night. I usually start streaming around somewhere between 8 and 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. and then I stream until I'm tired. So like sometimes I'm done at 1 a.m. and sometimes I go until 6 a.m.
Yeah, sometimes I wake up in the mornings and I come to my computer and you're going strong and I'm like, hey, good morning. And you're like, hey, what's up, Rev? And I'm like, must be kind of late. And you're like, no, it's still going strong. PvP.
Yep, still nighttime for me.
Light blue.
But I mean, when I only work 15 hours a week, I'm a librarian in real life. I work in a library. And I only work 15 hours a week. So there are some weeks where I only work like one day because I'm working a full shift or whatever. So it makes it really easy to stream until 10 a.m. if I feel like it, because I might not work the next day.
Yeah. Well, and so for those of you who tuned in before I had her name properly above her head, it is Ahkila DB, which stands for Dragonborn, because Skyrim is awesome and everyone loves Skyrim.
I love Skyrim.
So Ahkila DB also on Twitter, and you should toss her a follow. But we'll come back to your stream, and we'll come back to the Star Wars: The Old Republic a little later. We are gonna talk about something today, right? And it is fascinating. We are going to talk about the fact that the probably maybe third movie DC Comics has ever put out that's been even worth half a shit, and I will say, actually really good. We're going to be talking about Wonder Woman, right?
So spoiler alert.
Yes.
If you haven't seen Wonder Woman.
If you have not seen the movie Wonder Woman, you should probably know. Hold on. I've got this. Wait. Hang on. Here we go.
Did you put up a spoiler alert?
Yes, there's a spoiler alert. This will be a spoiler alert stream. There will be a spoiler alert for Wonder Woman. So if you are, if you have not yet seen Wonder Woman and you don't want anything spoiled, you've been warned. Okay, we're going to be talking about Wonder Woman. All right. So, first things first. Good movie, right?
Oh, yeah.
So good.
So good.
Overall thoughts. Your overall thoughts.
I really liked it, and it was actually kind of nice for me that they start off the movie with Wonder Woman gets a letter. She gets a letter from Bruce Wayne, Batman, and it has like a picture, right, of her like back in the day, and he asks, hey, I saw this original picture, and sometime if you'd like to explain it to me, that'd be cool, or whatever he says. And then it backtracks to her when she's a kid, and then it starts her origin story. And I actually really liked how they opened the movie, because I've seen some movies that do origin stories that just like start at the beginning, and since Wonder Woman got brought in with that Batman versus Superman movie, I think it was good. Yeah, no, bad movie. I think it was a good way to start off her story.
Right. It sort of ties in the fact that, Batman, the detective, is like, yeah, hey, I found this picture of you. What's up with this? And then, and it's not like she's telling the story. It's like she's looking at it, and it goes into her memories.
Right, exactly.
Now, I didn't really think that was... And I mean, that was okay, but that wasn't the part that hooked me early on. The part that hooked me right off the bat is you see in her memories, you see little Princess Diana running through.
She was so cute.
Yeah, she was adorable.
So cute.
And one of the first speaking characters you see is the so perfect actress Robin Wright. And you know who Robin Wright is. For those of you who don't know who Robin Wright is, she's probably most well known right now as playing Claire Underwood, the female lead on the Netflix series House of Cards. But I mean, to me, she will always be Princess Buttercup from The Princess Bride.
I thought that was so weird. I actually just discovered that she was Princess Buttercup a couple days ago, and I was like mind blown. But you can totally see it.
Oh yeah.
It just didn't click because they're so different. Like Princess Buttercup is this gorgeous. Like I mean she's also like a very strong woman, but she doesn't fight or anything. And then you enter the same person in Wonder Woman, and she's a fucking kick-ass warrior. Like. Oh.
And if you watch her on House of Cards, she's a totally different type of bitch. Like, she's a totally, like, different type of hard-ass bitch. You know what I mean? Like, and specifically in House of Cards, the range that Robin Wright brings to that role of Claire Underwood is amazing. She's soft and sensitive at times. And other times she's cruel and heartless and just downright mean to people, like spiteful. And at no point do you ever get taken out of the role because she's Robin Wright is such an amazing actress that she can portray that. So as soon as I saw this, you know, I mean, she's an older actress, she's an older woman, especially in terms of Hollywood. This older actress dressed up in leather armor with I think she was like using a staff and like helmet, and she's kick ass though. Like nothing weak about her, I mean, it's just, I was like, yes, Robin Wright.
Mm-hmm.
So that was what actually was the first thing that hooked me into the movie. I had no idea she was in it until I saw her.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, I thought her little, her helm that she wears is the same one that the Queen gives Diana when she goes off, isn't it?
I think they're very
really similar.
thematically similar.
Yeah.
But I think that the leather helm also comes down, whereas the crown that Wonder Woman wears is more like just a tiara. It just kind of goes around.
Right.
But I think it's supposed to be very thematically similar. So.
Yeah,
So the origin story then continues on with young Princess Diana growing up, being trained, and we get some really stupid, corny, cheesy backstory that is probably the worst part of the entire movie. The god of war killed all the other gods, and the only thing that can stop it is the ultimate weapon. And you're like, oh gee, I wonder if it's really that sword. And immediately as you're watching the movie, you're like, yeah, it's not the sword. When you watched the first time, was there any thought in your mind that it was the sword?
I thought it was maybe a combination that maybe it had to do with the sword, but only Wonder Woman could use it. Because I haven't read all the comics myself or had a chance to I've read some comics and I've watched some of the cartoons, but I haven't done everything. So I was like, I'm pretty sure it's not the sword, but maybe it's the sword, and then it wasn't. It's like, oh yeah. By the time it happened, though, it was pretty obvious it wasn't going to be the fucking sword.
No, as soon as they talked about there will be an ultimate weapon that Zeus passed on to the Queen, it's like, yeah, the ultimate weapon was his dick.
That dick, though.
that god dick from Zeus. He fired a lightning blast of godly baby batter into the Queen of the Amazons. So yeah. So that's a spoiler if you're too dumb to figure it out as you're watching the movie, that the ultimate weapon that can destroy gods is Wonder Woman, not actually the stupid sword.
And
that they show you for
spoiler. One interesting thing about that, at least that I thought was interesting, is so in the comics and in the TV shows, she mainly has two different origin stories. One of them, she is made from clay. Zeus actually puts life into clay and creates her. So, she's made from clay. And the other origin story is that she's a goddess, right? So, offspring of Zeus. Wonder Woman starts out in her origin story in the movie, when she, grows up, her mother tells her that she's made out of clay. And she goes, pretty much her whole life thinking that she's made out of clay, right? That Zeus made her into a person from clay. Lo and behold, end of the movie happens, and you find out, oh, she's the ultimate weapon because only a god can kill a god, and she's a god, right? So they sort of take both of the origin stories with the clay and the goddess, and they put them together, and I actually thought that was really cool that they did that.
I did not know that. I mean, I knew the parts that happened in the movie, but I didn't know those were the origin stories for comics because I was not a DC comic fan,
Yeah.
But that is really interesting. I didn't know that, but I love it when these movie makers do that. They pay homage, they pay respect to the comics in that way. I don't know. I just can't get off the sword thing because it was like they're like, this is the ultimate weapon. Here it is, right here. Whoops, gone. Like they show it for like half of a second, and then like, yeah,
so she does use it to kill who. There's a really bad guy in there, and he's pretty evil. And Wonder Woman assumes that he's Ares, right? Because Ares is the whole reason that humanity's evil. The only reason that there's ever any war is all Ares, right? Because he's the god of war, and he's trying to make humans destroy each other or whatever. Mm-hmm. And she meets this guy that's pretty evil, and she thinks it's him. And she does kill him with the sword, and when she kills him, there's like this burst of power that goes out. And she thinks, oh, he's dead. So, the humans are going to be good now. They're going to be kind. They're going to drop the war and go back to, being like ultimately good. And they don't. They keep loading in the poison into the ship or into the plane that's about to take off. And she's like super shocked. I think the little power that went out was sort of like, because she used the sword, it was sort of like an alert to Ares, almost like, hey, this person's here. Because, half the movie, her mom's trying to hide her, from like learning any combat moves, because the sooner she realizes who she is, the sooner Ares will find her. So I think that's what that little power surge that came out was. But
I think you have a point, but I don't think that the power had anything to do with the sword. I think that had to do with her, because even in the training, when she's training, she has one of those bursts of energy. You see her giving off this divine energy throughout the movie, before. And she didn't have that sword. So I think that the power was from her. If that makes sense.
No, it does. Because when we see it first, it's when she's fighting Robin Wright's character, whose name I cannot remember off the top of my head. It's with a G.
Hang on. It's not Hippolyta, because that's the queen.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Let's see. If we can figure out the name real quick.
Okay. IMDb will tell me. Wonder Woman 2017. And let's see.
Name for me. Because my IMDb sucks. I don't know why. My computer freezes to try to load IMDb.
Antipy. Antipy.
Yeah, so
Robin Wright played Antipy.
Her power first starts showing when she's fighting Antipy. It almost seems like a final test, and she goes to defend herself. Because Antipy's like challenging her and saying, you can do better than this, you're stronger than this, and is sort of really, really pushing her, and she goes to defend herself and does her like classic Wonder Woman icon thing, and boom, like a burst of power knocks everyone back. So I feel like all the times we see her burst of power before she officially realizes I'm a god, and then she gets all powerful.
Well,
or when she's in those moments of
in classic
changing moments, I guess.
In classic Greek and Roman mythology, she would actually be considered a demigod. So the demigods were people who were born of a human and a god, right? And they had the power to challenge gods. Like, they had power. It was a lot more limited than the powers of gods, but they were strong enough to challenge the gods. And they often did in those stories. But now, one thing I actually brought up with someone else, I was talking about the movie, is but she's not really, she's like a demigod plus, because she's not born of a human. She's born of an Amazon, and the Amazons were already above humans anyways.
Right. But they're not gods themselves.
Yeah. Like, the Amazons themselves are immortal, so they're like three-quarter, like they're already like halfway between humanity and gods. So though, like, Wonder Woman's like a demigod, so she's like 3/4 of a god?
She's mostly a god.
All I know is, Ray, if somebody asks you if you're a god, you say yes.
You do?
Ghostbusters.
Oh, yeah, done.
Classic one. Now, here's the other thing. Like, holy shit, how good is that? And I know this is something that we could have talked about after Batman versus Superman, but like, how awesome was the outfit, right?
Oh god, so
like
good.
They took the classic Wonder Woman outfit, and it didn't look like overly sexist. It didn't look like overly it looked really good.
Mm-hmm. She looked hot, but in a good, not in a like I want to jerk off to you way, but in a like, wow, you look so sexy and amazing, and like you're gonna kick my fucking ass, and I love it.
I could have done, and I know this is blasphemy to say, I could have done without the golden lasso quite so much.
I disagree. I love the lasso, and I really like that not only did she like have the lasso with her, because that's very iconic, but she fucking used it in tons of fight scenes.
Well,
And I thought that looked really cool.
the one fight scene where she like threw her sword at a tank or something, and then she's like surrounded by people, and she's like using it like a whip, and like that was great. That was great. That was an amazing fight scene. I'll admit that much.
Yeah.
But I always kind of felt a little bit like it's a lasso that forces you to tell the truth. You know, it's kind of a weird thing. SMG guy says I'm dead. But yeah, like when she was actually using it in battle, like that was pretty awesome, I will admit. But
which is nice because it wasn't just used as a here's a truth, you know, let's make you tell the truth. It was, I mean, yes, it was used as that, but it also was used as a weapon. So she literally uses in the movie and all of her fight scenes like everything around her at her disposal to fight with.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't remember her ever having a shield or a shield being really iconic to Wonder Woman, but again, I'm not a huge DC fan.
She does have a shield.
I love that one part where she first comes up out of the trenches and tries to charge No Man's Land, and she's hiding behind the shield, and it almost looks like she's having this moment of doubt, like, what, I can't move, like I'm pinned down, like she's pinned down by gunfire until others come to help her. I thought that was a really interesting moment and a really interesting choice, because the obvious choice would have been to have her just like never stop, you know, just have her charge the enemy trenches.
Right.
But to give her that moment of doubt was interesting because she had seen gunfire before on the beaches, but she hadn't really trained against it, you know?
Right.
She didn't know how to handle hundreds of bullets hitting her shield. Your thoughts, go.
Well, I mean, I agree with that, but I also think like not just even unable to handle it, more of a like, how strong would that be hitting you? Because it's machine guns that are hitting her shield. I think there were at least 3 different machine guns that were hitting her shield, and you know, like individual shots as well. That's a lot of power that she's holding back, just like with her arm and with the shield on her fist. So I'm not surprised she had to like kneel down and hold that, because shit, man, until they run out of bullets, like, yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, I in fact, I would say it's probably actually one of the larger disappointments I had is that once she does get into the trenches, they're done with the trenches like in 5 seconds. It felt like they rushed through that just to get to the like the next combat scene. Yeah. And that I felt like that was sort of a misstep. Like that could have been very interesting to see her fighting in trench warfare. You know, I mean, you've got this much room on either side, and it's muddy, and you know, there's, you know, I think that would have been interesting, but I feel like maybe they went over that because it may have been too gritty, a little too dark.
Maybe. My main thought on that was when I was watching it. So I watched it about 2 weeks ago, and I rewatched it today with some of my girlfriends, and I was thinking about that too today when they just like jumped in the trench, like knocked a couple people out, and then like skedaddled on over. And thinking a little bit later, you see a bunch of other soldiers like in the town with them, which makes me think that all the people that were back on the other side of No Man's Land, I'm assuming they crossed with her. That was really unclear with me.
Yeah,
but you know, we do see like a big army like crossing through, so I think that's the good guys crossing through to come help. But it was never really clarified to me in the movie. Just sort of left to assume it.
I think it was just a stylistic choice on the part of the movie makers to get the combat into somewhere that was more dynamic and fun. You know, like fun for them. Like it would be more fun for them to be fighting in a town square where they can have buildings collapsing and, you know, her lifting trucks and shit like that. You know what I mean? I think that the idea that she would be fighting in a trench is pretty limited. What's she going to do? You know, it would be German after German trying to stab at her with a bayonet and...
Right. And she already sort of did the main things in the trench that she would have done anyway. Like, she did parkour a little bit in the trench, which she also did when they got into the little city. Like, she parkoured up the wall a couple times. She took out one of the turrets with her shield. She, like, when she first jumps in the trench, she takes her shield and just smashes it down. So, I mean, she does fight little people. I think she hit somebody in the head with her shield as well.
Yeah, yeah.
She does like some really mild fighting and then just skedaddles on over to the town to save the townies.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. This whole like I just talked to one woman for half of a second. Now I've got to go save this town. Like, I understand her whole thing is like, she's fighting for justice and she's fighting to stop suffering. And, the whole thing about Wonder Woman is like love and justice, I get that. But at the same time, like, isn't her entire mission to stop Ares? Like, doesn't she trust Corporal Handsome Face, whatever his name is? Like Captain Handsome Guy, whatever, like, whatever. It doesn't, Captain Kirk. Let's just call him Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk.
Doesn't she trust Captain Kirk?
Many Chris's. Let's go with that. Chris number 4.
Chris number 4. Yeah. So for those of you who aren't aware, Chris Pine.
Pine. It's yes. Pine.
Chris Pine plays the titular male lead. No, not titular. Titular would be if it was called Captain blah blah blah. Titular is Wonder Woman. So Chris Pine plays the male lead opposite Wonder Woman, and he plays generic good army guy.
Good being a relative term. He's a spy, which he doesn't make any efforts to hide.
No, in fact, they go out of their way to say that multiple times.
They do. They say it a lot.
And to me, the only reason they do that is because that way they don't have to have him reporting to anyone. They want to make it clear, like, oh yeah, he doesn't really report to the... He's not a normal part of the army. He's, I mean, I could be pessimistic about it. And I'm sorry if I am sounding pessimistic, because I really did enjoy the movie. But the problem is certainly you get to a point with movies where you realize why writers are writing certain things and why certain things are written certain ways or shot certain ways or what have you. And it's like, yeah, that's just to avoid what would really happen,
I mean, movies are only, give or take, an hour and a half to 3 hours. Hopefully they're not 3 fucking hours. Batman versus Superman.
Oh, God.
But, yeah, so, I mean, it makes sense that they would, cross over or skip over some of those things, so... we're Surgeon Giggles. We are referring to Wonder Woman.
Yes, we are talking about Wonder Woman, and I'll take just a moment here to again thank my lovely guest Ahkila for stopping by. Ahkila is a streamer. She streams a lot of Star Wars: The Old Republic on her channel up at twitch.tv/AhkilaDB. That DB stands for Dragonborn. So AhkilaDB. Make sure you toss her a follow. And go ahead and say something in chat if you've got chat up, Ahkila. That way people can toss you a follow. You can also find her at twitter.com, AhkilaDB. She's a very entertaining streamer. She streams later at night, Pacific time, like late night Pacific time. So if you're East Coast, like really late. But yeah. She's a fun watch. She does a lot of PvP, and you sometimes do drunk PvP too, which is always amusing.
I do. Oh my gosh.
Oh, when I tune in on those drunk streams, those are always funny. Just cursing at people in your chat.
I did a drunk stream 3 weeks ago, and at one point, so I have curtains like right next to my window, and I for some reason got distracted by my curtains because I'm really easily distracted, and I went and touched them, and then kind of like hugged them to myself, and called them fuzzy or something, and somebody clipped it. So now there's like a clip floating around of me, like basically hugging my fucking curtains when I'm drunk. It's real weird.
Those clips. Someone got a clip of me today stabbing myself in the nipple with a pair of scissors.
What?
Yeah, well, I had a bunch of packages come in from Amazon, and I said, let's just open them on stream. I can't remember exactly what they are. We ordered them last week. And as I was opening them with this, like, I didn't have a knife, so I was just opening with scissors, and it caught, and then snagged, and then jerked, and then, like, I had the one blade going down into the thing, and the other one was sticking out, and that jabbed into my nipple.
Ow.
Yeah. Someone clipped that, shared it right in Discord right away, so I was like,
oh, joy. Gotta love that.
Yay! For embarrassing clips. So back to Wonder Woman. Okay. Now...
Just real quick, I just wanted to thank Cupcake Princess 2 and SMG Guy 2231 for the follows. They both just said they tossed me a follow. So
you know what? Why don't we both give them big ups? We'll give them big ups for thanking them for the follow. You know the big ups, right?
I don't.
Oh my god. See, this shows that you never watch my stream, Ahkila. So what I do is when people follow me live on stream, I give out the big ups, but I'll give them out for you. So Cupcake Princess and SMG, thank you for following Ahkila. Big ups. Whoop whoop.
Excellent.
Oh, look at that.
You usually stream when I'm working. At least that's when your podcasts are. Your podcasts are always when I'm at work.
That's very true. And Sergeant
Or
Giggles.
when I'm asleep.
Sergeant Giggles, thank you for the follow. People who follow me live on stream, they get the big ups. Sergeant Giggles, big ups. Whoop whoop. Thank you for the follow. So, Sergeant Giggles, he leads a squad of crazy jokers into battle. No, don't confuse him with, Private Giggles. Private Giggles is a scrub.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we can. Cupcake Princess sees another plushie.
It is another plushie. It's a cat. His name is Artemis. It's from Sailor Moon. I have one on my bed. I have Luna on my bed. But wait. It actually becomes a pillow.
Oh my god.
Okay, anyway, back to Wonder Woman.
It's a plushie and a pillow.
It
It serves two functions. I mean, really, anything's a pillow if you're willing to rest your head on it.
Boyfriend pillow? Girlfriend pillow?
So I thought that there were a few problems with the movie, though. I didn't think it was perfect. I didn't love it. Like, okay. Massive spoilers. Okay, we're gonna do the spoiler alert here just again. We are talking Wonder Woman. This is gonna be a pretty massive spoiler. So, we're gonna just go ahead and give out one of these spoiler alerts here. Hang on one second. So, Wonder Woman. Spoiler alert! Wonder Woman spoiler alert. You have been warned. This is going to be a massive spoiler for Wonder Woman.
One more time, spoiler.
So, yeah. So anyone who is worried about it, you have been warned. So, in the end of the movie, the guy that turns out to be Ares. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, it's just some guy that they ran into earlier. Like, what? Like, what was the message there?
I actually understood why they did that, and they actually hinted the second those two characters met that something was up.
Give it to me, because I missed it.
Again, I just watched it for the second time, and I didn't catch the first time I watched it. But when I watched it the second time, when Wonder Woman first sees him and he first sees her, he gets this weird look on his face, and he sort of stops talking. And they sort of gloss it over in the movie as, oh, he stopped talking because it was a woman that came in. But that's not, like, the look on his face that he got when she came in wasn't necessarily, oh, you're a woman. Like, why are you in here? Because it was like a meeting room of all these dudes. I think that's the first hint that it's him. And he's supposed to be, like, this big leader of, I don't know, the British. I wasn't really sure what he was leading. He was
that's not clear.
He was some big shot. And then he, like, decides to give them money so they can go travel to Germany to go, do this special infiltration mission to find the poison before they unleash the poison on, like, the world or whatever. So I think that was weird. Like, I could see him maybe saying, like, oh, hey, you should go anyway, but, like, giving them money, offering to, like, run it. His hesitation to have them infiltrate the castle when they're doing, like, the showing of the poison, right? Because they call when they're in the city that they just saved Vlad or whatever it's called. He calls a secretary and talks to his secretary about it to see how close they are to, like, the place where there's, like, a party or something going down. So he calls to see how close they are, and they're only, like, 2 miles from it, and then the dude steps in and is like, no, you are not allowed to go there. And, like, I thought that was strange. You fucking sent him to Germany to do this infiltration mission, to stop this shit from happening. Why are you trying to stop him from going to a place, like, probably the only place where he's going to find out where the poison's actually at? That was really fishy.
Like, so my point is, like, why? Like, there's nothing in the movie that ever suggests that he is the Ares, the god of war. Like, everything he does seems like it's sort of, in some way, would be furthering the plot, for lack of a better term.
Yes, but it's also just, I feel like they're also kind of strange things that he does. And there's also a key point that's said a couple different times by a couple different characters in the movie, that people aren't always what you think they are. That's stated over and over and over in the movie. Like, it's a main plot point that people are not what you think they are. Humans being one of them, because, you know, she thinks that humans are good, and she kills Ares, all the humans will be good. And, you know, it turns out, no, some people are just actually bad people. But, you know, this guy that she thinks has been helping her the whole time, all of a sudden turns out to be Ares, and, like, is the evil shit that's, you know, making all the bad shit happen. So, to me, that made sense, because it really is solidifying the point that people are not always what you think they are. So it made sense to me.
Okay, I'm gonna tell.
I thought it was also better than that. The other dude, the other bad guy, was way too obvious.
Way too obvious. Yeah, I agree.
Way too obvious.
But I like the thought that, like, I think it would have been better if, going back to what Queen Hippolyta said early on, she goes, "We don't even know that this is true. He could be dead. Like, Zeus may have killed Ares. That we may be preparing for something that never happened." Like, I think that the movie would have had more punch to it if she killed the bad guy, and then it's like, oh, nothing happened. Yeah, he wasn't Ares. There is no Ares. Ares doesn't exist. Ares is, you know, like, it was just a myth. You know, with the idea being like, oh, if I want to save humanity, I have to help them correct their flaws, not like, oh, there's just some big evil god. Because in the end, and that's what she realizes, like, even though, like, maybe not immediately in the storyline, but she realizes, like, oh, even though I defeated Ares, like, yeah, a few decades later, World War II happens, there's all this bad shit, like, you know what I mean? Humanity is fucking flawed. You know what I mean? I'm going to tell Sergeant Giggles that
she learns. I think that's what she learns from not just defeating him, but defeating the other commander and seeing all the evil that happens, that people can just be bad people. Like, everyone is not necessarily good.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, continue your point.
Oh, no. I mean, it was a little weird. I'm going to tell Sergeant Giggles. Spoilers over. Excuse me. I'm sorry. As I said, I've got this really bad cough.
Yeah. I'm assuming you're pushing your, like, cough mute button, right?
I am. I'm sorry that you can still hear me coughing, but they can't. And that's...
So sexy. So sexy.
Oh, you love the sound of my gurgling chest cough. It's bad. It's so much better than it was last week. Like, I couldn't even talk last week, and I was just coughing nonstop, so... I don't know. Now, here's something, our friend Addykins, I think, is, like, huge, or maybe it's Clax that's huge on Aquaman. He's, you know, they're coming out with an Aquaman movie, right?
Yep.
So, do you feel like after the massive spate of shitty movies that DC has put out, like okay, Heath Ledger, Dark Knight, good, but like everything from that until Wonder Woman, in my opinion, has been crap, right? Does this Wonder Woman, though, give you hope that Aquaman might actually be fucking halfway decent?
I don't know, because I feel like half the reason Wonder Woman was awesome is because Gale was in it. And she fucking kicks ass. So, I don't know. There was a meme floating around that somebody told me about that was pretty funny. It was like, oh no, now Wonder Woman's gonna give people hope. And, you know, somebody commented back on that, well, why is that? Because a woman's in power and, you know, shows that she's powerful. And they're like, no, hope that DC will actually have good movies.
Yeah.
Which is, like, so accurate, you know? And I don't know. Just looking at Aquaman from the commercial, he doesn't look like I picture Aquaman to look. Because I remember watching Aquaman, like, TV shows when I was a kid. And I've seen some of the comics, and I think he looks a lot more like... He looks really manly and, like, I don't know. He doesn't look like I imagine Aquaman to look.
Well, there was a series...
That's kind of like...
There was a series where they really butched up Aquaman in the comics. I want to say in the early 90s. They gave him a big, long beard and, like, just jacked muscles, you know, and I think they gave him a hook. And I think that's kind of the aesthetic they're going for, more that,
Yeah.
uh, you know, uh, Sir Rink says it'll be different. They'll pull off a Heath Ledger Joker with him. I think it. Okay, can I tell you what I think? All right, so this is one of the biggest things I took from Wonder Woman, and this isn't spoilers, so don't worry, no spoilers here. One of the things that I think DC has done terribly, fucking terribly, was ever since the first Batman movie that came out, The Dark Knight. Which one was Dark Knight Rises or whatever?
The recent one.
The first Dark Knight movie with the first Christopher Nolan one.
Oh.
All right, where he's fighting the
I haven't seen
Liam Neeson. I can't even remember. So in those movies, they chose a very specific style of cinematography. It's very dark, it's very grainy, the colors are desaturated, and that works for Batman because Batman is Batman, right? But then they carried it over into Man of Steel. And I never liked that. Man of Steel should have been bright and vibrant and colorful. The reds and blues on his suit should have really popped, and it should have been a bright, colorful movie, because that's a different thing than Batman. You know what I mean?
Right.
But they've carried that dark, grungy desaturation element over into all of their movies, including Wonder Woman, but there are a lot of elements of Wonder Woman that were very bright and colorful and cheery. Like when they're in the land of the Amazons, dude, the whites are just, you know what I mean? And I think that's the one thing that I hope for with the DC movies is they're willing to embrace changing the color palettes a little.
Yeah. That would be nice. Definitely Superman was a lot darker than I feel like his, like, it was basically his origin story, like where he becomes Superman, like the Superman movie that came out, and Man of Steel or whatever it's called, and it definitely was a lot darker than I remember it being, like in the comics and in the TV show when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So DC I think tends to take things too dark a lot of the time. Like they take Batman, who's already pretty dark in general, which I have no problem with, but they take him and they make him like even more dark than he already is. And I don't know if that's just a DC thing, but they've definitely done that in pretty much all of their movies. So
yeah, I don't know. Look, I mean, my wife especially loves superhero movies. Like I enjoy a superhero movie, whatever. But that's what my wife lives for. She loves the superhero movies. Deadpool is like her favorite movie that's come out in the last her entire lifetime. It's like one of her favorite movies. Those and like superhero movies and like Men in Black, she loves those movies, right? So she's the one usually saying like, "Hey, Spider-Man just came out. Do you want to go see Spider-Man this weekend?" And I'm like, "Sure, baby, let's go."
Yeah. And Sir Rinks is saying dark, edgy things is the new black.
Yeah. Sorry. Rev alt tabbing back and forth to add my 2 cents. That's fine, Rinks. You do what you do.
And you're not wrong, except it's clearly not working super well for them.
No. I mean, you think about comic books. With the exception for a very few, like Batman or Spawn or I don't know, like independent ones like Neil Gaiman's Sandman, like they're bright, they pop off the page. That's sort of what you expect out of comic books. So this aesthetic of just making everything dark and grungy doesn't work for me, personally.
I agree.
And Marvel doesn't do that, by the way.
They don't.
Like,
I mean, they have dark elements in their stories, but I like Marvel makes their movies a little bit more kid-friendly, which is a good thing, but also sometimes not a good thing for specific scenes. It doesn't always work so well, but they have a lot more humor in their movie. It's not just darkness, and even in like the dark, edgy things, as the Rings put it, there'll still be some humor thrown in, which I think makes the movie a lot more enjoyable because it's a movie.
Right.
You don't tend to go to comic book movies, like you don't usually watch those to watch like a ton of drama. Like if you wanted that, you would be watching a different type of movie. Like you're watching an action movie for some kick-ass like action scenes, right? Versus a bunch of like dark drama, broody drama like Superman versus Batman.
You keep bringing up that movie. Why?
I haven't even finished it. I haven't even finished the movie. I watched it with my ex. We got through half of it, which, by the way, that movie is like, it's seriously 2 hours and I think 54 minutes or something. We got through half of it, which was about an hour and a half. Nothing had happened, and we fell asleep, and like I never went back to it.
The only way I was able to get through Batman vs Superman is I started watching it, and I was just bitching in Discord about it, and Loina goes, "Hold on, let me watch it with you." And so I stopped the movie, and then he found a copy to watch online. And we watched it together, and we're just like, "Oh my god, this is so bad! Why are like Batman totally just killed that guy? Like, what happens if Batman doesn't kill?" Like, that was the only way I was able to make it through that movie, was just to have someone to Mystery Science Theater 3000 it with.
Yeah.
Like, you can't take that movie seriously. Like, why is Lois Lane throwing this spear down a well? Why?
I don't know. Sir Rinks, I think, has a good point. He's saying Civil War was really good, had a good balance, and Batman versus Superman should have followed that tone. I actually agree with that. I think it would have gone a lot better if they would have followed that tone.
Absolutely.
Because they still covered a lot of drama in that movie, but they didn't do it the way that Batman versus Superman did.
Well, there was also just so many things in Batman versus Superman where you're like, wait, what? Like, what? Like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, Lex Luthor just somehow thinking, yeah, I'll just cut myself and bleed into this pool, and magically I'll have a Superman.
Right?
What?
Strange. I mean, Lex Luthor is extremely intelligent. Like, he's supposed to have a really high IQ and stuff in the comics and in the TV series. Again, I grew up watching a lot of these cartoons, so like, that sort of makes sense, but like, if you don't really describe, you don't explain Lex Luthor super well, people are going to be really confused on why he knows that. Yeah, and in the series, like, that I remember, the TV series, Lex Luthor does, like, creep on Superman a lot and, like, does a bunch of research on him, so it wouldn't be surprising that he knows, oh, this will probably do this thing. But they don't really explain that in the movie very well.
And I think Rinks has the point exactly, that DC was going for that theme that Civil War managed to capture, of, like, hey, you've got two people that are heroes, and now, for very good reasons, they're fighting each other. Oh my god. Oh god, and I just remembered. Oh, I put a mental block on this, and now I just remembered why they stopped fighting. Oh.
Who?
Martha. Why did you say her name? Martha! Why are you saying that name? It's my mother's name. Why, it's my mother's name too. We're best friends now.
Seriously, I didn't watch the movie, so that's dumb. That's dumb as fuck.
It is.
Nora Near. Martha!
It is
Hi, Dave.
mind-blowing. When you get to that point in the movie, you will literally just be like, what the fuck is this shit?
What face?
Yeah, it is
so bad.
Enragingly bad. Like, it's literally like, literally Batman is about to kill Superman. Like, literally about to fucking straight up murder a bitch, right?
Right.
And Superman just like, save Martha. And Batman's like, why did you say that name? My mother's name was Martha. And Superman's like, my mother's name is Martha.
We can be friends now? Our mothers have the same name?
And that's it. That's literally it. That's all the explanation. Then he's like, okay, here, stand up. Let's go save her together. I have to help you save your mother, who's got the same name as my mother did.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's...
so bad.
Seriously, if you don't make this face, I would be shocked.
Yeah, Sir Rinks doing... Yep, exactly. I think I just said that, actually.
Do you want to go practice our karate moves in the garage? Yup.
Okay. Let's go get some ice cream while we're at it.
That was a quote from
Third world problems.
Step Brothers. Do you know the movie Step Brothers with Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
Oh, love that. That's another one of Angie's favorites, so I've seen that 1,000 times, but it's a very good movie.
I've only seen it, I think, once or twice. It's pretty funny, though, from what I remember.
I think I've seen it once or twice this month.
I would say you have to like Will Ferrell humor. If you don't, you won't like Step Brothers.
Very true.
So
Very true.
Keep that in mind.
Very true. So once again, I'm talking to Ahkila, who was kind enough to join me this week, even though we were originally scheduled for last week, but I was sick and I had no voice, and she was kind enough to come back on this week. We spent most of the last hour talking about Wonder Woman. You can find her Twitch channel up there. It is twitch.tv, Ahkila DB. The DB stands for Dragonborn, in case you're wondering. So Ahkila DB, make sure you toss her a follow. Ahkila, say hi in chat so they can follow you easily.
Okay,
And we've got about 10 minutes left, and I told you there was really no need to plan for anything other than Wonder Woman. I told you we'd fucking chew through an hour easily without having to touch anything else. But I do feel bad. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about, or anything on Wonder Woman that we didn't hit on that you wanted to touch on?
We already said spoilers over for Wonder Woman, so as much as I could continue talking about Wonder Woman for hours and hours, because I could, let's move on to something else. I did want to bring up Marvel movies. Potential spoiler for those of you that haven't watched Doctor Strange. If you watch the rest of the Marvel movies, not including Guardians of the Galaxy 2, you should be good on spoilers. But yeah, one more time, spoilers. Yeah, my friends and I, after we watched Wonder Woman today, we went out to eat and we were talking about like the differences between DC movies and Marvel movies and where Marvel was going with their next movie that's coming out soon. And we got to talking about Infinity Stones. I don't know about you, but I'm super excited because they basically have one Infinity Stone left. And then boom, all the Infinity Stones are going to be discovered.
Right.
I already know where the final Infinity Stone is. So they'll all be discovered and then boom, Thanos will come and kick shit down, and it'll be awesome. I'm so excited.
Now, the thing that I find that is interesting that you say that, because in the what do they call it? The War of the Gauntlet? Oh my God, why is my brain failing me? Where everyone fights Thanos, right? He does assemble all of the Infinity Stones into his gauntlet, right? Yep. But that brings in a very interesting question, because one of the Infinity Stones is Vision. You know what I mean? Like, how is that going to play out? Like, you can say, oh, well, okay, this person's guarding that one. He can get that. But are they going to kill Vision?
I'm trying to remember what happens in the comics. I haven't particularly read what happens with Vision in terms of, like, his Infinity Stone getting into the gauntlet. What I do know is, I doubt they'll do this in the movies, but big spoiler alert if you haven't read the comics. Vision and, why can't I remember her name? Chick with the red glowy power.
Scarlet Witch.
Yes, Scarlet Witch. They actually have a thing, and it hints at it a little bit in the TV show, but they actually get married, and I'm pretty sure they have a kid or something. And she goes kind of crazy, and he leaves Earth. Leaves Earth because he doesn't want to see her going crazy or whatever. I can't remember if she dies or not. It's been a while.
Fucking abandoning your fathers. That's the problem with our society. Dads who.
But my guess is he's gonna leave the planet for whatever reason, and then Thanos will capture his.
I think it's very interesting that what's her name, Olsen, who plays Scarlet Witch in the movies, not Mary-Kate or Ashley, so I don't know her name. It's the.
Oh, I don't know. I just know that I
she's
the her someday.
You know that she's the sister of the Olsen twins, though, right?
What?
Yeah, the woman who plays Scarlet Witch is the younger sister of Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen.
No wonder she looks so familiar.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She's an Olsen. Well, so anyways.
Dave, did you see Dave?
I would get the fuck out if I had a kid. Yeah, especially if you had an Infinity Stone that you fly into space. Da-da-da!
World. Can't handle that crying baby in that poopy diaper.
Elizabeth Olsen. Yeah. So when they first approached her to play Scarlet Witch, she was telling a very funny story how they approached her, and they said, "This is your character." And as they handed to her, they said, "You're not going to be wearing this outfit." Have you seen what Scarlet Witch's outfit is in the comics? Yes. She took one look at it. She's like, "Oh, thank God."
Nobody wants her to wear that.
No, and again, going back to, we talked earlier about Wonder Woman's outfit. I think that they've done a really great job in, most of them have done a really great job of updating classic comic book, outfits to a very interesting aesthetic. Like Captain America's especially. I love Captain America's outfit.
Also, he's just a sexy man. But
well, there is that, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say most of them because who is it? Sony did the X-Men series, and some of those X-Men outfits, Like, they even make a joke about it in X-Men 1, you know?
I didn't know that, Dave. I guess Scarlet Witch also got with her brother a lot.
Oh.
So I think it was interesting that they killed him. Like, in, the first movie he appears in, he's dead.
Yeah, I can't help but wonder if that was a licensing issue, though.
He's the Flash, right?
Quicksilver.
Thank you, Quicksilver. The Flash is DC. Quicksilver is Marvel.
Yeah, I think there was a licensing issue because Quicksilver is technically an X-Man, and Sony has the rights to X-Men, and Marvel had to buy the rights to use Quicksilver in that movie.
Yeah.
So it's even though it's a Marvel character, they sold the rights to Sony like years ago, and as long as Sony keeps putting out X-Men movies like once every 10 years, then they retain they retain first rights to that licensing. So I think that's the reason they did that, because they're like, well, we'll just kill him off, and then that way we don't have to keep paying for him.
Right.
And there was all sorts of technically Quicksilver's with Fox, Dave says, so I believe that. I trust Dave's judgment on this. Dave is really smart, knows a lot about these comics. He and I have had quite a few discussions about comics, and he's on his shit.
So Dave and I need to sit down and also have more comics discussions, or we should do like a Proper Nerds podcast with other people that like nerdy comics.
You know who you also should get is Clax. Clax is up on comics.
I would be down for that podcast.
I would honestly say among the Proper Nerds, I'm probably not in the top 4 for comics. I'm a Marvel fanboy. I love Marvel, but like when it comes to knowing a lot of the lore, I'm not that up on it. So, do you watch Comics Explained on YouTube? No, I'm not that big on comics. Sorry.
I don't think I've seen Days in the Future Past, Sergeant Giggles.
Oh, you should watch it. It's actually
Is that the most recent one?
No, it's not the most recent one. The most recent one was Logan, which was okay.
No, not including the Logan one. The most recent, there was like an Apocalypse one, and then there's one before that. Is Days in the Future Past? Is that... Oh, wait, that's obviously not Apocalypse. Which one was the most recent one that wasn't Logan?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
It might have been Apocalypse. I don't know.
I don't know. And what's funny is people who are watching this are going to be yelling at us like, it's blah, blah, blah. How do you not know this? Because I'm dumb. That's how. Days of Future Past, Sergeant Giggles says, yeah. There's Chet is alive right now. But anyways, I'll say one last thing, and then unfortunately, we have to wrap it up. What are your thoughts on the upcoming Black Panther movie?
I'm so excited.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's going to be good, actually. I really liked his character in the, that was Civil War, not Avengers. It felt like an Avengers movie, not a Civil War movie, whatever. I think it will be good. I hope. I have faith in Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have faith in DC. Unfortunately, DC has ruined my hopes with too many movies for me to have faith in DC to make a good movie. Because they've had really good actors in some of their movies and still bombed their movies. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it has a lot of potential.
I think... Okay, so a lot of people don't realize this, but Iron Man was not a B-list hero. He was like C-list. People were making fun of Marvel Studios when they were talking about making Iron Man. Because they're like, LOL, you sold the rights to all your good characters, so now you got to go to your C-listers. Like, Iron Man was not one of the popular comics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what they did and revitalized the entire Marvel universe through, Iron Man. Like, because people were saying, like, oh, you guys failed. You sold off all your rights, and then, I can't even remember what the first Marvel one they did was, but it didn't do that well. It
was the Hulk.
Was it the Hulk?
It was the Incredible Hulk, wasn't it? In 2008 or something?
Well, I know both Hulk movies did not do very well.
Both Hulk movies were pretty... I mean, I haven't seen them since I was a teenager.
The Edward Norton one...
when I was a teenager, but...
The Edward Norton one is better than the Ang Lee one. And the Edward Norton one, I guess, is the canon, even though they replaced Edward Norton with, what's his name, Ruffalo.
Oh, Dave says it was Blade.
Yes, Blade. Okay, now Blade was fucking amazing. Unfortunately, all of the follow-ups to it sucked. But if you go back and watch Blade, it holds up. It's really good. So anyways, we've got to wrap this up. Unfortunately, I could talk to you for another hour and a half easily, but
Yeah.
we're out of time, unfortunately. So once again, let me just say for everyone watching, please make sure you toss Ahkila a follow. You can find her at twitch.tv/AhkilaDB. The DB stands for Dragonborn. She's also on Twitter at AhkilaDB. She streams late or at night. 8 o'clock Pacific is when she usually starts, but sometimes earlier, sometimes later, sometimes not at all, you know. But you're pretty regular lately, I've noticed.
Yeah, I'll probably be streaming in about 20 minutes.
Oh.
I have a raid in an hour and a half, or I guess I have a raid in 2 hours, and I want to stream before my raid. So.
Well, I'll make sure I host into you when you're, when you're up. And as we like to end every stream, Ahkila, final word goes to you, and then we say goodnight.
Final word from me: Wonder Woman kicks fucking ass, so much ass. Go watch it. You're gonna see tons of hot, sexy women kicking all the ass. Definitely worth theater price. So yeah.
All right. So for Ahkila DB and myself, Rhev, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, chat, for being so active. Everyone, have a great night. Bye bye.
Bye bye.